A single father stands at the edge of a cliff in the pouring rain, staring at a stranger's wrecked SUV dangling over the abyss. His 7-year-old daughter sleeps in his truck behind him. He made a promise to his dead wife never to be a hero again, never to risk leaving their child alone. But the woman inside that car is bleeding out, and he has less than 60 seconds to decide, keep his promise or save a life. What he doesn't know is that saving her will destroy everything he's built to protect. Before we dive into this incredible true story, please subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss these powerful stories of courage and redemption. And comment below with what city you're watching from, so I can see how far this story travels around the world. Now let's begin. Daddy, I'm scared. Those 3 words had been haunting Henry Flynn for exactly 4 years, 2 months, and 16 days. Not because his daughter Audrey had said them recently, but because those were the last words his wife Sarah had whispered to him over a crackling satellite phone from a hospital bed 8,000 miles away, minutes before her heart stopped beating. He'd been in a firefight in Kandahar. She'd been in a car accident in Seattle. He'd promised to protect her, to come home safe, to never leave her alone. He'd broken every single one. Now it was November, and Henry's knuckles were white on the steering wheel. Highway 20 stretched ahead into darkness. Rain hammered the windshield. "Daddy, when are we getting home?" Audrey's voice came from the back seat, sleepy and small. 20 minutes, baby. Go back to sleep. I miss Mr. Hoppy. I know. We'll get him next weekend. You promise? Henry's jaw clenched. I promise. The wipers couldn't keep up. Henry squinted through the water. Then he saw them. Skid marks. Fresh. Black. Leading straight off the road. His foot hit the brake. The truck fishtailed. Audrey jolted awake. Daddy! Stay in the truck, don't move. Henry grabbed his flashlight and ran into the rain. The cold hit hard. He aimed the beam over the edge. 30 feet down. Black SUV, nose down. Rear wheels caught on a pine tree. The tree was bending, cracking. 90 seconds, maybe less. Henry ran back to the truck. His hands were shaking, not from cold, from something deeper, something that made his vision tunnel and his chest tighten. Audrey's face pressed against the window. Daddy, what's wrong? Someone had an accident. I need to help. No, don't leave me. The words hit like bullets. Sarah's voice echoed in his head. Don't leave me. I'm scared. Don't leave me. Lock the doors, Audrey. Count to 100. I'll be back. Daddy, please. He couldn't look at her. If he looked at her face one more second, he'd drive away. And he'd spend the rest of his life knowing he'd let someone die because he was too broken to save them. Henry grabbed his rescue rope from the truck bed. Old muscle memory kicked in. Tie off. Test the knot twice. Rappel. The rope burned through his gloves. His boots slipped on wet rock. Below, the SUV groaned. The tree screamed. 45 seconds. Henry hit the roof hard. The vehicle shifted. He froze. 30 seconds. He crawled to the driver's window. Inside, a woman. Blonde. Blood on her face. Eyes closed. Ma'am, can you hear me? Nothing. Henry smashed the window. Glass exploded. He reached in, found her pulse. Weak, but there. 20 seconds. The seatbelt was jammed. Henry pulled his knife and started sawing. The woman's eyes opened. Who? Don't move. I've got you. My legs. Don't look down. Look at me. What's your name? Rosalind. Rosalind, I'm Henry. Stay calm. 10 seconds. The seatbelt snapped. Henry grabbed her and pulled. She screamed. Her leg was wedged. This is going to hurt. He yanked hard. Rosalind shrieked. Her leg came free. Henry dragged her through the window. The tree cracked. The SUV dropped. Henry wrapped the rope around them both and kicked off. They swung wild, slammed into the cliff. Below, an explosion. Fire bloomed orange. Henry climbed. Hand over hand. His shoulders burned. His bad knee screamed. The rope frayed. His hand found asphalt. He hauled them over and collapsed. Rosalind lay next to him, shaking. "Thank you. Thank you." Henry couldn't respond. The adrenaline crash hit. His vision blurred. His hands wouldn't stop shaking. Then he heard it. "Daddy! Daddy!" Audrey stood outside the truck, soaking wet, sobbing. "You said 2 minutes. You were gone forever." Henry tried to stand. His legs buckled. Audrey ran to him and threw her arms around his neck. "I'm sorry, baby. Daddy's here. Daddy's okay." Rosalind watched them. Something in her expression broke. "Is that your daughter?" Henry nodded. "You left her to save me. I couldn't let you die. But you almost left her alone." Henry had no answer, because Rosalind was right. Rosalind started crying, not from pain, from something deeper. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." Henry helped her up. "My cabin's 2 miles from here. I'll call for help." "No." Rosalind's voice turned sharp. "No hospitals. No police." Henry stopped. "You need medical attention." "I'm fine." "You're bleeding from your head and your leg might be broken." "I said I'm fine." Audrey tugged Henry's sleeve. "Daddy, she's really bleeding." Henry studied Rosalind's face. He recognized that look. Fear. The kind that came from running. "Who are you running from?" Rosalind looked at Audrey, then at Henry. "If I tell you, you'll be in danger too. Lady, I've been in danger my whole life. Try me." "My fiancé is trying to kill me." The words were so calm that Henry thought he'd misheard. "What?" "I was driving to Seattle to meet the FBI. I have evidence. My fiancé, Clinton Reeves, he's the CFO at my father's company. He's been embezzling millions. 2 whistleblowers disappeared in the last 6 months. Tonight at our engagement party, I overheard him on the phone. He knows I found the files. This wasn't an accident. Someone cut my brakes." Henry's PTSD training kicked in. Paranoid delusions, trauma response. But Rosalind's eyes were clear, focused, terrified, but not crazy. "If that's true," Henry said slowly, "they'll be looking for you. Hospitals, police stations." "I know. And you came to me because you were the first person who stopped, because I was desperate." Audrey pulled harder on Henry's jacket. "Daddy, can we go home now? I'm cold." Henry looked at his daughter. 7 years old, shivering. Then at Rosalind, bleeding, broken. "Come on," he said. "We'll figure it out at the cabin." They walked in silence. Henry supported Rosalind's weight. Audrey gripped his jacket. After 15 minutes, the cabin appeared through the trees. Henry got Rosalind onto the couch. Audrey ran to her room and came back with Mr. Hoppy. "You can hold him. He makes people feel better." Rosalind stared at the stuffed rabbit, her face crumpled. "Thank you, sweetheart." "What's your name?" "Rosalind." "That's a princess name. Are you a princess?" "Audrey," Henry warned. "Give her space." "But Daddy." "Bathroom. Brush your teeth. Now." Audrey huffed and stomped off. Henry went to get his first aid kit, military grade. He'd kept it from his army days. He came back and started cleaning Rosalind's head wound. "This needs stitches," he said. "Can you do it?" "I'm not a medic anymore." "But you were." Henry didn't answer. He threaded the needle. "This will hurt." "Everything hurts already." Henry stitched quickly. Rosalind bit down on a towel, didn't make a sound. When he finished, he wrapped her leg. "You're tough," he said. "You're good at this." "I've had practice." Silence hung between them. Then Rosalind spoke. "Your wife, the photos on the mantel. What happened?" Henry's hands stopped moving. "Car accident. 4 years ago. I was deployed. She died alone in a hospital while I was 8,000 miles away fighting a war that didn't matter. I'm sorry. Everyone's sorry. Doesn't bring her back." "No, it doesn't." More silence. Then Rosalind said, Can I ask you something? What? Why did you save me? You have a daughter. You could have driven past. No one would have known. Henry looked at her. Really looked at her. Because if I'd driven past, I would have known. And I'm trying really hard not to be the kind of person who drives past anymore. Rosalind's eyes filled with tears. You're a good man, Henry Flynn. You don't know me. I know you risked everything for a stranger. That's enough. Audrey came back, teeth-brushed hair wet. Daddy, can Miss Rosalind sleep in Mommy's old room? Henry's chest tightened. Sarah's room. He never let anyone in there. Audrey. Please. She can't sleep on the couch with her hurt leg. Henry looked at Rosalind. She was barely conscious now. Okay, he said quietly. Just tonight. He helped Rosalind down the hall, opened the door. The room still smelled like Sarah's perfume. Rosalind sank onto the bed. Thank you. Henry turned to leave. Henry. He stopped. Your daughter asked if I was sad. The answer is yes. I've been sad for a long time. But tonight someone chose to help me even though it cost them something. That means more than you know. Henry closed the door without responding. But what Rosalind didn't know was that her fiancé's men were already closing in. And the choice Henry made tonight would put his daughter directly in their crosshairs. Audrey was waiting in the living room. Is she going to be okay? I think so. Good. I like her. She has sad eyes like you. Henry sat next to his daughter. Time for bed. Can I sleep with you tonight? I had bad dreams. Yeah, come on. They went to Henry's room. Audrey climbed under the covers and was asleep in minutes. Henry lay next to her staring at the ceiling. His phone was on the nightstand. He should call the police, report the accident, do the right thing. But something told him not to. Something about Rosalind's story rang true. Henry picked up his phone. No service. Of course. The storm must have knocked out the cell tower. He set the phone down and closed his eyes. That's when he heard it. A car engine. Distant, but getting closer. Henry sat up, grabbed his gun from the nightstand, checked the window. Headlights. Coming up the mountain road. Fast. His heart hammered. Could be nothing. Could be a neighbor. Could be. The car stopped at the end of his driveway. Lights off. Engine off. Henry's combat instincts kicked in. He moved to Audrey, scooped her up without waking her, and carried her to the closet. Laid her inside on blankets. Closed the door most of the way. Then he moved to Rosalind's room. Opened the door quietly. Rosalind, wake up. She stirred. What? Someone's here. Are you expecting company? Her face went white. No. Oh God. How did they find me? I don't know. But we need to move. Now. I can't walk that well. Then I'll carry you. A knock at the front door. Hard. Authoritative. Henry Flynn. This is Sheriff's Deputy Marcus Webb. Open up. Henry froze. Sheriff's deputy. His license plate. They must have traced the wreck to his truck. Rosalind grabbed his arm. Don't open it. It's the police. You don't understand. Clinton has people everywhere. The sheriff's department, the state police. If they take me in, I'm dead. You're paranoid. I'm realistic. Another knock. Harder. Mr. Flynn, we know you're in there. We just want to ask some questions about the accident on Highway 20. Henry looked at Rosalind. Her fear was real. Raw. Please, she whispered. I'm not lying. I'm not crazy. If you let them take me, I won't make it to morning. Henry's mind raced. Option 1, open the door. Let the deputies sort it out. Option 2, trust a stranger he met an hour ago. Mr. Flynn, last chance before we come in. Henry made his decision. He moved to the front door, but didn't open it. I'm here, he called through the wood. What's this about? We need to ask you some questions about a vehicle accident. Can this wait until morning? My daughter's asleep. I'm afraid not, sir. We need to verify some information. What information? Your license plate was spotted near the scene of a serious accident. We need to know if you saw anything. Henry's jaw clenched. They knew he was involved. But how much? I did see something, Henry said. I saw skid marks. I stopped, looked over the edge, saw fire. I tried to call 911 but had no cell service. So I came home to use my landline. By the time I got back out there, emergency vehicles were already on scene. So I came back home. Silence from the other side of the door. Then, "Sir, we have reason to believe you may have interfered with the scene. We need you to open the door." Interfered how? We found rope fibers at the scene. Military-grade rope, the kind you'd have from your army days. Henry's blood ran cold. They knew. They knew everything. "I'd like to see a warrant," Henry said. "We don't need a warrant if we have probable cause." "Then I'd like to call my lawyer." More silence. Then a different voice. Deeper. Harder. "Mr. Flynn, we can do this the easy way or the hard way, but we're coming in." That's when Henry heard it. The back door. Someone was picking the lock. They weren't deputies. Real cops would have called for backup, would have announced themselves properly, would have waited for a warrant. These were Clinton's men. Henry moved fast. Back to Rosalind's room. "They're coming in through the back. Can you walk?" "I'll try." Henry helped her up. They moved toward this front door. The back door lock clicked open. "Stay behind me," Henry whispered. He unlocked the front door and yanked it open. Two men stood there, both in deputy uniforms. But something was wrong. The badges looked off. The patches didn't match. "Mr. Flynn," the first man said, "we need you to come with us. Show me your IDs." "Sir, show me your IDs." The second man's hand moved toward his belt, not to a badge, to a gun. Henry saw it coming. Years of combat training crystallized in a single second. He grabbed the first man's arm, twisted, and slammed him into the doorframe. The second man drew his weapon, but Henry was faster. He kicked the gun from the man's hand and drove his elbow into the man's throat. Both men went down. Henry grabbed Rosalind. "Move now." They ran toward his truck. Behind them, footsteps. The men from the back door. Henry got Rosalind into the passenger seat. Ran back to the house. Had to get Audrey. Had to. A gunshot cracked the night. Wood exploded near Henry's head. He dropped, rolled, came up moving. Another shot. This one hit his truck. The tire exploded. Henry's mind went cold. Combat mode. He flanked left using the darkness. Came up behind the shooter. Grabbed his gun arm. Twisted. The weapon clattered to the ground. The man swung wild. Henry blocked, countered, drove his fist into the man's solar plexus. The man went down gasping. 3 down. 1 more somewhere. Henry ran back inside. "Audrey, Audrey, wake up." He opened the closet. Audrey was awake now, crying, terrified. "Daddy, what's happening?" "We have to go, baby, right now." He scooped her up, ran back outside. The man he'd dropped at the front door was gone. So was the one from the back. They were regrouping, which meant Henry had maybe 60 seconds. He got to the truck. Rosalind was still in the passenger seat, face white with fear. "The tire's flat," she said. "I know. We're not taking the truck." Henry carried Audrey to the garage. Inside his old Jeep. Hasn't run it in months. He put Audrey in the back seat, buckled her in. "Daddy, I'm scared." "I know, baby. I know. But Daddy's going to keep you safe. I promise." He got behind the wheel. Turned the key. The engine coughed. Died. He tried again. It coughed. Sputtered. In the rearview mirror, Henry saw shadows moving. The men were coming. "Come on, come on." He turned the key again. The engine roared to life. Henry slammed the gas. The Jeep burst out of the garage. One of the men jumped in front of them. Henry didn't slow down. The man dove out of the way. They hit the main road. Henry floored it. Behind them, headlights appeared. Rosalind turned in her seat. They're following us. I know. What do? We run. Audrey was crying in the back seat. Daddy, who are those people? Bad people, sweetheart, but they're not going to hurt you. I promise. Henry's phone buzzed in his pocket. He pulled it out. Signal was back. 1 bar. Unknown number. Text message. We know where you are, Flynn. Stay out of this, or your daughter pays the price. Henry's hands tightened on the wheel. Another text. The woman in your car is a thief and a liar. Give her to us and we'll leave you alone. You have until sunrise. Henry looked at Rosalind. They want you alive. That's worse, Rosalind said quietly. If they take me alive, I disappear, like the others. Then they don't get you. Henry, you have a daughter. You can't. I said they don't get you. Behind them, the headlights were gaining. Henry took a sharp turn onto a logging road. The Jeep fishtailed, but held. Where are we going? Rosalind asked. Somewhere safe, I hope. Another text buzzed in. Henry glanced at it. Then he did something crazy. He texted back. Come and try. Rosalind saw the message. Are you insane? Probably. They'll kill you. They'll try. Why are you doing this? Henry looked in the rearview mirror, at Audrey small and scared and holding Mr. Hoppy tight. Then at Rosalind. Because 4 years ago, I wasn't there when someone needed me. And I've been living with that guilt every single day since. So maybe I'm doing this for you. Or maybe I'm doing it for me. But either way, those men aren't getting near my daughter or near you, not while I'm still breathing. Rosalind stared at him. You're either the bravest man I've ever met, or the most broken. Can't I be both? A sad smile crossed her face. Yeah, I think you can. The headlights behind them disappeared around a curve. Henry took another sharp turn, then another. He knew these mountains, knew every logging road and hunting trail. They didn't. After 20 minutes of serpentine driving, Henry pulled into a hidden turnoff, killed the engine, killed the lights. They sat in darkness, listening, waiting. Audrey's voice came small from the back seat. Daddy, are the bad people gone? I think so, baby. Why do they want to hurt Miss Rosalind? Because she knows something they don't want other people to know. Like a secret. Yeah, like a secret. Secrets are bad. Mommy always said secrets make people sick. Henry's throat tightened. Sarah had said that. When she was fighting her depression. When she was trying to be honest about how much she was struggling. And Henry had been 8,000 miles away, too busy being a hero to save his own wife. Mommy was right, Henry said quietly. Secrets do make people sick. Rosalind spoke from the passenger seat. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I brought this to your door. If I'd known... You'd what? Died in that car. Maybe that would have been better. Don't say that. Why not? It's true. 2 people are already dead because of me. Now you and your daughter are in danger. Maybe I should just... Stop. Henry's voice was hard. You don't get to give up. Not now. You came to me for help. So I'm helping. But I need you to fight. Can you do that? Rosalind looked at him. Tears streaked her face. I don't know if I can. Then find out. They sat in silence. Then Audrey spoke again. Miss Rosalind. Yes, sweetheart. When I get scared, I think about the happiest thing I can remember. What's your happiest thing? Rosalind was quiet for a long moment. Then, my mother used to make paper airplanes with me. Before she died, we'd write wishes on them and fly them off our balcony. What did you wish for? I wished to be brave like her. Did it come true? Rosalind smiled through her tears. I'm starting to think maybe it did. Audrey reached forward and put Mr. Hoppy in Rosalind's lap. You can keep him tonight. He'll help you be brave. Rosalind clutched the stuffed rabbit like it was a lifeline. "Thank you, Audrey." Henry's phone buzzed again. He looked at the screen. Another text from the unknown number. But this one was different. It was a photo of his cabin, on fire. Below it, 3 words, "This is mercy." Henry's blood turned to ice. Everything he owned, all of Sarah's things, the photos, her clothes, gone. "They burned down your house," Rosalind whispered, seeing the photo. Henry didn't respond. He just stared at the flames on his phone screen. Everything was burning. His past, his safety, his hiding place. But Audrey was alive. Rosalind was alive. And Henry Flynn, for all his broken pieces and shattered nerves, was still standing. He looked at Rosalind. "Tell me everything. And I mean everything. Who's your fiancé? Who's he working for? How many people are we up against?" Rosalind took a shaky breath. "His name is Clinton Reeves. He's the CFO of Heart Technologies, my father's company. We have government contracts worth billions. Defense, surveillance, AI systems. Clinton's been skimming money for years, small amounts at first, then larger. He recruited others, made them complicit. Anyone who threatened to talk disappeared. 2 whistleblowers, an auditor, all gone. No bodies, no evidence. And you found proof." "I found everything. Bank accounts, wire transfers, offshore holdings. I have it all on a flash drive." "Where's the drive?" Rosalind reached into her bra and pulled out a small USB drive. "Right here." Henry stared at it. That tiny piece of plastic. That's what this was all about. That's why his house was burning. "We need to get that to the FBI," Henry said. "I tried. That's where I was going tonight. But Clinton has connections, local police, state troopers, maybe even some federal agents. I don't know who to trust." "Then we go over their heads." "How?" Henry thought for a moment. "Then, we go public, media, press conference. Make it impossible for them to silence you. They'll kill me before I get within 100 feet of a reporter." "Not if I'm with you." "Henry, you're one man. I was a ranger. I've survived worse odds." Rosalind looked at him like he was crazy. Maybe he was, but he'd made his choice. "We wait until sunrise," Henry said. "Then we drive to Seattle. Find the biggest media outlet we can. Tell your story with cameras rolling. Once it's public, they can't touch you." "You really think that'll work?" "I think it's our only shot." Rosalind nodded slowly. Okay. Let's do it." Audrey was asleep in the back seat now. Mr. Hoppy clutched to her chest. Henry looked at his daughter. She deserved better than this. Deserved a father who didn't bring danger home. Deserved a normal life. But normal was gone, burned with his cabin. All they had now was each other and a plan that might get them killed. Henry started the engine. "Try to sleep. We move at first light." Rosalind closed her eyes. But Henry knew she wouldn't sleep. Neither would he. Because somewhere out there, Clinton's men were regrouping, planning, hunting, and Henry Flynn, the man who'd sworn never to be a hero again, was about to walk straight into their crosshairs. For a stranger. For redemption. For the chance to finally save someone when it mattered most. I'll craft a narrative focusing on deep conversations and mounting tension as they wait through the night with Audrey, introducing a symbolic paper airplane technique that becomes a metaphor for hope and survival. Their journey into town becomes fraught with danger when law enforcement intervenes, challenging Henry's credibility due to his complex past. Rosalind faces a critical moral dilemma about protecting Henry, weighing trust against potential risk. The unfolding scenario sets up a dramatic cliffhanger promising intense psychological exploration in the next part. Dawn came cold and gray through the Jeep's windows. Henry hadn't slept. His eyes burned. His body ached, but his mind was sharp, running through every possible scenario, every exit strategy, every way this could go wrong. Audrey stirred in the back seat. Her eyes opened slowly. Daddy? Hey baby, you okay? I'm hungry, and I have to pee. I know. We'll find somewhere safe soon. Where are we? In the mountains. We're playing hide and seek. With the bad people? Henry's jaw tightened. Yeah, with the bad people. Rosalind was awake too, staring out the window. Her face was pale. The stitches on her leg had bled through the bandage. We need to change that, Henry said, nodding at her leg. It's fine. It's not fine. You'll get an infection. We have bigger problems than an infection. Not if you pass out from blood loss. Rosalind looked at him. You really don't give up, do you? Not my strong suit. Henry pulled the first aid kit from under his seat. Rosalind rolled up her pant leg. The wound looked worse in daylight. Angry, red, swollen. This is bad, Henry said. I've had worse. When I tried to leave Clinton the first time, he threw a whiskey glass at me, cut my shoulder open, told everyone I fell down the stairs. Henry's hands stopped moving. He hit you. He controlled me. There's a difference. Or at least, that's what I told myself. How long? 2 years, since my mother died. My father introduced us, said Clinton was perfect, ambitious, smart, everything the company needed, everything I needed. I believed him. And when did you figure out the truth? 6 months ago. I found a file on his laptop. At first I thought it was a mistake, a clerical error. But then I kept digging, and the more I found, the worse it got. The embezzlement, the bribes, the people who disappeared. I realized the man I was supposed to marry was a monster. Audrey leaned forward between the seats. What's embezzlement? Stealing, Henry said. Taking money that doesn't belong to you. That's bad. Mrs. Peterson says stealing is wrong. Mrs. Peterson is right. Is Miss Rosalind going to tell the police? That's the plan. Good. Bad people should go to jail. Rosalind smiled sadly. I wish it were that simple, sweetheart. It is simple. Daddy says there's good people, and good people have to be brave. Your daddy's very smart. I know. He saved you from the fire car. Yes, he did. Henry finished wrapping Rosalind's leg. We need to move. Sun's up. They'll be searching every road. Where do we go? Rosalind asked. Town first. Get supplies, food, gas. Then Seattle. Town's 20 miles from here. They'll have people watching. I know. But we don't have a choice. We're running on fumes. Henry started the engine. The Jeep coughed to life. He pulled back onto the logging road, driving slow, watching for any sign of movement. Audrey pulled out a piece of paper from her backpack. Miss Rosalind, do you know how to make paper airplanes? I used to, with my mother. Can you teach me? Audrey? Henry said. Not now. But Daddy, she's sad. Paper airplanes make people happy. Rosalind turned in her seat. It's okay. I'd like to. She took the paper from Audrey and started folding. Her hands shook. Whether from pain or fear or memory, Henry couldn't tell. You fold it like this, Rosalind said. Then like this. See, now you try. Audrey copied her movements, tongue sticking out in concentration. Like this. Perfect. Now we need to name it. What did you name yours? I used to name them after wishes, hope, joy, peace. Things I wanted but didn't have. Let's name this one Hope 1, Audrey said. Rosalind's breath caught. Hope 1. I like that. What do we wish for? What do you think we should wish for? Audrey thought hard. I wish the bad people would go away and we could go home. That's a good wish. What do you wish for, Miss Rosalind? Rosalind was quiet for a long time. Then, I wish I'd been braver sooner. Maybe then people wouldn't have died. You're brave now, Audrey said. Daddy says being brave means being scared but doing it anyway. Your daddy's right again. They flew Hope 1 through the Jeep. It sailed between the front and back seats. Audrey giggled. For just a moment the fear lifted. Then Henry saw it. Ahead, on the road. A sheriff's cruiser. Lights off. Waiting. "Get down," Henry said. "Both of you. Now." Rosalind grabbed Audrey and pulled her to the floor. Henry slowed the jeep but didn't stop. The cruiser's lights flashed on. Red and blue. Blinding. Henry's heart hammered. He pulled over. "Stay down," he whispered. "Don't make a sound." A deputy approached. Tall. Thick build. Hand on his weapon. Henry recognized him. Deputy Marcus Webb. They'd met once at a veterans support group. Henry rolled down his window. "Morning, Marcus." Webb's eyes were cold. "Henry, didn't expect to see you out here this early." "Just taking a drive. Couldn't sleep." "That right? Where's your daughter?" "At her grandmother's." "You sure about that?" Henry's pulse quickened. "Yeah, I'm sure. Why?" "Because we got a call about a disturbance at your place last night. Shots fired. When we got there, the cabin was on fire. And you were gone." "I wasn't home." "Where were you?" "Driving, like I said." "All night." "I have PTSD, Marcus, you know that. Sometimes I drive when I can't sleep. Helps clear my head." Webb studied him. "You alone in that Jeep?" "Yeah." "Mind if I take a look?" "You got a warrant." "Don't need one if I have probable cause, and a burned cabin with evidence of gunfire is plenty of cause." Henry's hand moved slowly to his sidearm, hidden under his jacket. If this went south, if Webb was one of Clinton's people, Henry needed to be ready. "Step out of the vehicle, Henry." "I'd rather not." "That wasn't a request. And I'm not resisting, but I'm also not getting out without a lawyer present." Webb's hand tightened on his weapon. "You're making this harder than it needs to be." "Or maybe you're not really here about a fire." "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means I know what's going on. And I know you're being paid to look the other way." Webb's face hardened. "You need to be real careful what you're accusing me of." "Am I wrong?" Silence hung between them. Then Webb's radio crackled. A voice came through. "Dispatch. All units. Bolo for a black Jeep Wrangler. License plate 7, Adam Charles 429. Suspect is Henry Flynn, armed and dangerous. Approach with caution." Webb's eyes never left Henry's. "That's you, isn't it? That's your plate." "I'm not dangerous. Armed, though. Second Amendment. Not if you're a threat to yourself or others. And from what I hear, you've been having episodes. Violent ones." Henry's blood ran cold. "Who told you that?" "Doesn't matter. What matters is, you're coming with me, now." "I'm not going anywhere." "Henry, don't make me." That's when Rosalind sat up from the floor. Webb's hand went to his gun. "Who's that?" "Someone who needs help," Henry said. Rosalind opened the passenger door and stepped out. Her leg buckled. She caught herself on the doorframe. Webb stared. "Ma'am, are you injured?" "Yes." "What happened?" "Car accident, last night, on Highway 20. Webb's eyes widened. "You're the woman from the SUV, the one who went over the cliff." "Yes." "We've been looking for you. There's been reports. Your fiancé said you were kidnapped." "I wasn't kidnapped." "Then why didn't you go to a hospital?" Rosalind looked at Henry, then back at Webb. "Because the people who cut my brakes work for my fiancé, and if I go to a hospital, I'll disappear like the others." Webb's expression didn't change. "Ma'am, that's a serious accusation." "It's the truth." "You have any proof?" Rosalind pulled the flash drive from her bra. "This has everything. Bank records, wire transfers, names, dates. Proof that Clinton Reeves and several executives at Hart Technologies have been embezzling millions and silencing whistleblowers." Webb stared at the flash drive. Hart Technologies, as in William Hart, one of the richest men in Washington. My father, yes. And you expect me to believe his CFO is dirty? I expect you to do your job. My job is to bring you both in for questioning. Your job is to protect people. And right now, we need protection. Webb's jaw tightened. He looked at Henry, then at Rosalind, then at the flash drive. This is way above my pay grade, he said finally. Then call someone whose pay grade it isn't, Rosalind said. Call the FBI, call the state police, call whoever you need to call. But don't take us to your station, because if you do, we'll be dead before sunset. Webb's radio crackled again. Unit 12, what's your status? Webb didn't respond. He was thinking, calculating. Henry could see it in his eyes. The deputy was deciding whose side he was on. Unit 12, respond. Webb clicked the radio. Unit 12, false alarm. Jeep belongs to a civilian, running late for work. Over. Copy that. Webb looked at Henry. You need to get out of here, now. You're letting us go. I'm giving you a head start, because I remember what you did in Afghanistan, and I know you're not the bad guy here, but I can't protect you if you stay in my jurisdiction. So drive. Don't stop. And don't trust anyone in a uniform until you're talking to someone federal. Why are you helping us? Webb's face was grim. Because 3 months ago my partner started asking questions about some wire transfers he noticed in the county budget. 2 weeks later, he was dead. Car accident. Just like yours, ma'am. Brake line cut. They said it was an accident, but I knew. I just couldn't prove it. Rosalind's face went white. What was your partner's name? James Chen. Oh God, he was one of the whistleblowers. He reached out to me 6 months ago. He said he had information about county officials taking bribes from Hart Technologies. I told him to be careful. I told him to go to the FBI. He never got the chance. Silence hung heavy between them. Then Webb said, Get that flash drive to someone who can do something with it, and do it fast, because word's spreading that you're out here, and there's a lot of people who want you silenced. Thank you, Rosalind said. Webb nodded. Then he looked at Henry. Take care of your daughter, and watch your six. Always do. Webb walked back to his cruiser, pulled a U-turn, drove away. Henry got back in the Jeep. His hands were shaking again. That was close. Too close, Rosalind said. Audrey popped up from the floor. Is the policeman gone? Yeah, baby. He's gone. Was he a good guy or a bad guy? Good guy, I think. I'm glad. I don't like bad guys. Henry started driving, fast now. Every minute counted. Rosalind turned to him. We need to split up. What? They're looking for both of us, together. If we split up, you and Audrey can disappear. I'll take the flash drive and... No. Henry, your daughter. My daughter is safe with me, and you're not going alone. I'm not your responsibility. You became my responsibility the second I pulled you out of that car. That's not how this works. That's exactly how this works. They drove in tense silence. Then Audrey said, Why are you fighting? We're not fighting, Henry said. Yes, you are. Grown-ups fight different, but it's still fighting. Rosalind smiled, despite everything. She's perceptive. Too perceptive. Miss Rosalind, Audrey said, are you going to leave us? I'm thinking about it, to keep you safe. But you'll be alone. Sometimes alone is safer. That's what Daddy says too, but he's sad when he's alone. Are you sad when you're alone? Rosalind's voice cracked. Yes, I'm very sad when I'm alone. Then you should stay with us, because friends don't let friends be sad. Where did you learn that? Mrs. Peterson. She's my teacher. She says friends are people who help even when it's hard. Rosalind looked at Henry. Your daughter is remarkable. She's all I have. Then why are you risking her for me? The question hung in the air. Henry didn't answer right away. He thought about Sarah, about the promise he'd made, about the guilt that ate at him every single day. Finally, he said, "Because 4 years ago, I was 8,000 miles away when my wife needed me, and I've spent every day since wondering if I could have saved her if I'd been there. I can't change the past, but I can be here now, for you, and maybe that matters." Rosalind's eyes filled with tears. "It matters." They drove for another hour, stopped at a gas station in a small town Henry didn't recognize. He paid cash, grabbed food and water, kept his head down. Back in the Jeep, Audrey ate a granola bar and fell asleep again. The adrenaline crash had finally hit her. Rosalind watched her sleep. "She reminds me of myself, before everything got complicated." "When did it get complicated?" "When my mother died. Cancer. 5 years ago. My father changed after that. Became cold. Obsessed with the company. Said emotions were weakness. Said I needed to be strong like him. So I buried everything. Became who he wanted me to be. The perfect daughter. The perfect executive. The perfect fiancée. And I lost myself completely." "That's not your fault. Isn't it? I chose to stay. Chose to ignore the warning signs. Chose to believe Clinton when he said he loved me. I chose all of it. You were surviving. There's a difference." "Is there?" "Yeah, there is. Because surviving means you're still here. Still fighting. And that takes courage." Rosalind looked at him. Really looked at him. "How do you do it?" "Stay strong for her." Henry glanced at Audrey in the rearview mirror. "Because the alternative is letting her down. And I've already failed one person I loved. I'm not failing her." "You didn't fail your wife." "I wasn't there." "You were serving your country." "My country didn't need me as much as she did." "You don't know that." "I know she died alone, and I know I wasn't there to hold her hand. That's all that matters." Rosalind reached over and touched his arm. "You're a good man, Henry Flynn." "Stop saying that." "Why?" "Because I don't feel like a good man. I feel like a coward who's been hiding in the mountains for 4 years." "You're not hiding anymore." "No, I'm not." They drove into Seattle as the sun reached its peak. The city rose ahead of them. Glass towers, traffic, life moving forward like nothing was wrong. Henry's phone buzzed. Another text. This time from a number he recognized, Dr. Campos, his therapist. "Henry, I got a call from the sheriff's office. They're saying you're having an episode, that you're dangerous. Call me. Let me help." Henry showed the text to Rosalind. "They're spinning a narrative, making me the villain." "Of course they are. That's how this works. Discredit the witness. Make everyone doubt your credibility." "What do? We stick to the plan. Find a media outlet. Tell the truth before they can bury it." Henry pulled into a parking garage downtown. Killed the engine. Looked at Rosalind. "Last chance to back out," he said. "I'm not backing out. Once we do this, there's no going back. Your life changes forever." "My life changed the moment I got in that car last night. The moment you pulled me out. This is the path now, and I'm taking it." "Okay then. Let's go change the world." They got out of the Jeep. Henry woke Audrey gently. "Time to go, baby." "Where are we?" "Seattle. We're going to help Miss Rosalind tell the truth." "About the bad people." "About the bad people." "Will we be safe?" Henry looked at his daughter, 7 years old, scared, trusting him completely. "I don't know," he said honestly, "but I'm going to do everything I can to keep you safe. I promise." "Okay, Daddy, I trust you." Those 3 words nearly broke him, because trust was such a fragile thing, and he'd already broken it once. With Sarah. He couldn't break it again. They walked toward the parking garage exit. Rosalind limped beside them. Audrey held Hope 1 in her small hands. That's when Henry saw them. 3 men. Black SUVs. blocking the exit. And standing in front of them, smiling like a shark, was a man in an expensive suit. Clinton Reeves had found them. Henry's hand went to his gun, but Clinton raised his hands, showing he was unarmed. "Henry Flynn," Clinton said, his voice smooth as silk. "I've heard so much about you. The war hero, the broken veteran, the man who kidnapped my fiancée." "That's not what happened," Rosalind said. "Isn't it? Because that's what everyone believes. A mentally unstable veteran takes advantage of a car accident victim. It's quite tragic, really." "You cut my brakes." "I did no such thing, though I am concerned about your delusions. They seem to be getting worse." "I have proof. You have a flash drive with doctored files. My lawyers will tear it apart in minutes." "Then why are you here?" Henry asked. Clinton's smile widened. "To make you an offer. Walk away. Give me the flash drive, and I'll make sure all charges against you are dropped. You can go back to your little cabin in the woods, raise your daughter in peace. My cabin's a pile of ash. I'll buy you a new one, better, bigger, whatever you want. And Rosalind comes home with me, where she belongs." "No," Rosalind said. "I'm not going anywhere with you." Clinton's expression darkened. "You don't have a choice." "Yes, I do. Think about what you're doing. Think about your father, about the company, about the thousands of people who depend on Heart Technologies. Are you really going to destroy all of that? I'm going to expose the truth. What happens after is on you." Clinton's jaw tightened. He looked at his men, nodded. They stepped forward. Henry pulled his gun. "Don't." Clinton laughed. "You're outnumbered, outgunned. And you have a 7-year-old girl with you. You really want to start a firefight in a public parking garage. You really want to find out." They stood at an impasse. 3 men against 1. But Henry had something they didn't. Desperation and training, and 4 years of rage looking for a target. "Last chance," Clinton said. "Walk away." Henry looked at Rosalind. She was terrified, shaking, but her eyes were fierce, determined. She wasn't backing down. Neither was he. "No," Henry said. Clinton's smile vanished. "Then you both die." His men moved, and Henry Flynn, the man who'd sworn never to be a hero again, stepped between his daughter and the guns. Everything happened in seconds but felt like hours. Clinton's men reached for their weapons. Henry's finger moved to the trigger. Audrey screamed behind him. Then a voice cut through the tension like a knife. "Federal agents' hands where we can see them." 6 FBI agents swarmed from behind concrete pillars, weapons-drawn vests marked clearly. Clinton's men froze. Henry didn't lower his gun. A woman stepped forward. Mid-40s, sharp eyes, badge held high. "I'm Special Agent Maria Vasquez. Everyone lower your weapons, now." Henry didn't move. "How do I know you're really FBI?" "Because if I wasn't, you'd already be dead." Vasquez looked at Clinton. "Mr. Reeves, we've been waiting for you to make contact." Clinton's face went pale. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Don't you?" "We've had your phones tapped for 3 weeks. Ever since James Chen's widow came to us with her husband's notes. Notes that led us to Heart Technologies, to your offshore accounts, to everything. That's impossible. Is it because we've been tracking the flash drive Miss Hart has been carrying? The one with enough evidence to put you away for 30 years. Rosalind stared. "You've been tracking me. Since the moment you contacted our Seattle office 2 days ago requesting a meeting. We've had undercover agents watching you, protecting you. We knew someone would try to stop you from reaching us. Then why didn't you stop them from cutting my brakes?" Vasquez's expression hardened. "We didn't know about that until it was too late. By the time we got to the crash site, you were gone. We've been searching all night." Henry finally lowered his weapon. "You could have led with that. I needed to see how this played out. Needed Clinton to incriminate himself, which he did. Multiple times. It's all on recording. Vasquez gestured to the agents. Take him. Two agents moved toward Clinton. He stepped back. You can't do this. Do you know who my father-in-law is? Do you know how much power Hart Technologies has? I know exactly who William Hart is, Vasquez said. And in about 30 minutes, he's going to know exactly what you've done. Because we're executing search warrants on Hart Technologies as we speak. Every office, every computer, every file. It's over. Clinton looked at Rosalind, his face twisted with rage. You did this. You destroyed everything. No, Rosalind said, her voice stronger than Henry had heard it. You destroyed everything. I just stopped you from destroying more. Your father will never forgive you. Then I'll live with that. But I won't live with more people dying because I stayed silent. Clinton lunged toward her. Henry moved without thinking. His fist connected with Clinton's jaw. The man went down hard. Vasquez didn't stop Henry. She just watched Clinton sprawl on the concrete and said, add assault to his charges. Two agents hauled Clinton to his feet, read him his rights, led him away still spitting threats and curses. Audrey had been hiding behind Henry the whole time. Now she peeked out. Is it over, Daddy? Yeah, baby, it's over. Are the bad people going to jail? The bad people are going to jail. Audrey looked at Rosalind. You were really brave. Rosalind knelt down, wincing at the pain in her leg. So were you. Thank you for letting me borrow Mr. Hoppy. You can keep him if you want. No, he belongs with you. But I'll remember him. Always. Vasquez approached them. Miss Hart, we need you to come with us. Give a formal statement. Turn over the flash drive. What about Henry and Audrey? Mr. Flynn is free to go, though we'll need his statement as well. But that can wait until tomorrow. He saved my life. Twice. If he hadn't pulled me from that car, if he hadn't protected me from Clinton's men, I'd be dead. Vasquez looked at Henry with new respect. Then the country owes you a debt, Mr. Flynn. I don't want a debt. I want my life back. Your cabin. Burned down. We'll see what we can do about that. Insurance claims can be expedited when there's federal involvement. Henry nodded. He was exhausted. Every muscle ached. His hands wouldn't stop shaking. The adrenaline was crashing hard. Rosalind touched his arm. Come with me. To give your statement, please. I don't want to do this alone. Henry looked at Audrey. She was holding Hope One, watching everything with wide eyes. I need to get her somewhere safe first, Henry said. We have a family services liaison, Vasquez offered. She can watch Audrey while you're being interviewed. No, Henry said firmly. She stays with me. Mr. Flynn. She stays with me. After everything she's been through, I'm not leaving her with a stranger. Vasquez considered this. All right, we can arrange that. There's a waiting area with children's books and toys. She can stay close. Henry looked at Audrey. What do you think, baby? Can you hang out for a little while longer? Will there be snacks? Vasquez smiled. We have the best snacks. Cookies, juice boxes, even ice cream. Okay, I can be brave for ice cream. They drove to the FBI field office in separate cars. Henry kept Audrey close, held her hand, tried to process everything that had just happened. Inside the building, everything moved fast. Agents everywhere. Phones ringing. Computers humming. The machinery of justice grinding into motion. Rosalind was taken to one interview room, Henry to another. But Audrey stayed with him, sitting in a chair coloring while he answered questions. The interview took 2 hours. Henry told them everything. The rescue, the men at his cabin, the chase through the mountains, the confrontation with Clinton. When he finished, the interviewing agent leaned back. That's quite a story, Mr. Flynn. It's the truth. I believe you. And between you and me, what you did took guts. Most people would have driven past that wreck. I almost did. But you didn't. That's what matters. Henry was released shortly after. Audrey had fallen asleep in the chair, crayons scattered around her. He picked her up gently. She stirred, but didn't wake. Vasquez met him in the hallway. "Miss Hart would like to see you before you go, if you have a moment." "Where is she?" "Conference room 3, down the hall." Henry carried Audrey there, pushed open the door. Rosalind sat at a long table looking exhausted, but somehow lighter, like a weight had been lifted. "Hey," Henry said quietly. "Hey." Rosalind stood, walked over, looked at Audrey sleeping in his arms. "She okay?" "She's tough. Takes after her mom." "She takes after you too." "Maybe." They stood in awkward silence. Then Rosalind said, "They're going after everyone. Clinton, the executives he recruited, even some people in my father's inner circle. It's going to be a scandal. The company might not survive." "How do you feel about that?" "Relieved, terrified, free, all at once." "What will you do now?" "Rebuild, if I can. The company, my relationship with my father, my life, everything." "That's a tall order." "I've got time, and for the first time in years, I've got hope." "Hope's a good thing." Rosalind smiled. "Yeah, it is." She paused. "What about you? What will you do?" "Find a new place to live, get Audrey back in school, try to put our lives back together." "Will you stay in Washington?" "Don't know yet. Depends on what Audrey wants. What feels right." "I hope you stay. I'd like to see you again. Both of you." Henry met her eyes. "Yeah, I'd like that too." Rosalind reached into her pocket and pulled out a business card, her personal cell number written on the back. "Call me when things settle down. I owe you both so much." "You don't owe us anything." "Yes, I do. You gave me my life back. That's not something I can ever repay." "Then don't try. Just live it. Be happy. That's enough." Rosalind's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you, Henry, for everything." She stepped forward and hugged him, careful not to wake Audrey. Henry held her with one arm, felt her shake with silent sobs. When she pulled back, she looked at Audrey one more time. "Take care of her. She's special." "I know. And take care of yourself. You're pretty special too." Henry didn't know how to respond to that, so he just nodded. He left the FBI building carrying his sleeping daughter. The sun was setting, painting the sky orange and pink. He had no home, no plan, no idea what came next. But Audrey was safe. Rosalind was safe. And for the first time in 4 years, Henry felt like maybe he'd done something right. His phone buzzed, text from an unknown number. For a second, his heart stopped. Then he read it. "Mr. Flynn, this is Special Agent Vasquez. Forgot to mention, there's a motel on 5th Street. We've arranged a room for you and Audrey. 3 nights. On the bureau. You both deserve some rest. Receipt will be at the front desk." Henry almost laughed, almost cried, settled for a tired smile. He drove to the motel, checked in, carried Audrey to the room, and laid her on the bed. She woke up briefly. "Daddy." "Yeah, baby." "Are we safe now?" "Yeah, we're safe." "Good. I love you." "I love you too." She fell back asleep. Henry sat on the edge of the bed and finally let himself break down. Silent tears. 4 years of guilt and grief and rage pouring out. He cried for Sarah, for the life they'd lost, for the man he used to be. But he also cried for relief, because he'd kept his promise. He'd protected Audrey. He'd saved someone when it mattered. Maybe he wasn't the hero Sarah had asked him not to be, but maybe he was the father Audrey needed him to be. And maybe that was enough. The next morning, Henry woke to find Audrey sitting on the floor making more paper airplanes. She'd used every piece of paper in the room, hotel stationery, notepads, even the room service menu. "What are you doing?" Henry asked. "Making hope. Like Miss Rosalind taught me. Hope 2, Hope 3, Hope 4. I'm making a whole fleet. A fleet of hope. Yeah. So we never run out. Henry sat on the floor next to her. That's beautiful, baby. Do you think Miss Rosalind is okay? I think she's going to be fine. Will we see her again? Maybe, if she wants to. I hope she does. I like her. Me too. They spent the morning watching cartoons and eating room service pancakes. It felt normal, safe, like maybe life could be simple again. Around noon, Henry's phone rang. Number he didn't recognize. He almost didn't answer, but something made him pick up. Mr. Flynn, a man's voice, deep, authoritative. This is William Hart, Rosalind's father. Henry's stomach tightened. Mr. Hart, I wanted to call and thank you personally for saving my daughter's life. Agent Vasquez told me what you did, what you risked. I'm in your debt. You don't owe me anything. Nevertheless, I'm grateful. I'm also calling to apologize. For what? For not seeing what Clinton was doing. For pushing my daughter toward a monster. For being so focused on the company that I forgot what really mattered. My daughter tried to tell me something was wrong. I didn't listen. That's on me. Henry didn't know what to say. William continued. I'm also calling to make you an offer. Your cabin was destroyed because of my company's problems. I'd like to rebuild it for you, better than it was, as a small token of my gratitude. Mr. Hart, I can't accept that. Why not? Because I didn't save Rosalind for a reward. I saved her because it was the right thing to do. I know, that's why I'm offering. Good people are rare. You deserve good things. Henry thought about it, about starting over, about giving Audrey a real home again. Can I think about it? Henry asked. Take all the time you need. When you're ready, call my assistant. We'll make it happen. They hung up. Henry stared at his phone. Audrey looked up from her paper airplanes. Was that Miss Rosalind's daddy? Yeah. Is he nice? I think he's trying to be. That's good. Everyone should try to be nice. Yeah, they should. That afternoon, Henry took Audrey to a park. Let her run and play and be a kid. She flew all her paper airplanes, Hope 2 through Hope 20, watched them soar and tumble and land in the grass. Look, Daddy, they're flying. I see, baby. Do you think wishes really come true? I think sometimes they do. What do you wish for? Henry watched his daughter chase paper airplanes across the grass, her laughter echoing, her joy uncontained. I wish for this, he said quietly. Right here, this moment. That's a good wish? Yeah, it is. They stayed until sunset, then drove back to the motel, ordered pizza, watched more cartoons. Audrey fell asleep halfway through a movie about talking cars. Henry sat in the darkness, thinking about everything that had happened in the last 48 hours. How one decision to stop at a crash site had changed everything. He thought about Sarah, about whether she'd be proud or angry that he'd broken his promise. He decided she'd be proud, because he'd kept the more important promise, the one to take care of Audrey, to be there when it mattered. His phone buzzed. Text from Rosalind. Saw the news. Clinton's been denied bail, charged with embezzlement, conspiracy, attempted murder. He's going away for a long time. Thank you for helping me be brave enough to stop him. Henry texted back. You were always brave. You just needed someone to remind you. No, I needed someone to show me what real courage looks like. You did that. You and Audrey both. How are you holding up? Honestly, I'm exhausted, scared, but also hopeful. My father and I are talking, really talking, for the first time in years. It's hard, but it's good. That's great. He told me he called you, about rebuilding your cabin. Yeah. Are you going to accept? I don't know yet. You should. You deserve a home. You both do. Maybe. Henry. Yeah. Would it be okay if I came to visit sometime? When things settle down, I'd like to see how Audrey's fleet of hope is coming along. Henry smiled. I think she'd like that. And you? Yeah, I'd like that too. They texted for another hour. Not about Clinton or the FBI or any of the heavy stuff. Just about life. About Audrey's paper airplanes. About Rosalind's plans to restructure the company around ethics and transparency. About hope and healing and second chances. When Henry finally put his phone down, he felt something he hadn't felt in 4 years. Peace. The next morning, Special Agent Vasquez called. Mr. Flynn, I wanted to give you an update. We've arrested 14 people connected to the embezzlement scheme, found evidence of bribery, witness tampering, and 3 murders made to look like accidents. This case is going to take years to fully prosecute, but because of you and Miss Hart, we have everything we need. What about the men who came after us? The ones at my cabin? All in custody. Turns out they were former military contractors, hired by Clinton to intimidate witnesses. They're cooperating now, trading testimony for reduced sentences. And the deputy Marcus Webb, he's clean. In fact, he's been instrumental in identifying other officers who were taking bribes. He's a good cop. You were right to trust him. I'm glad. Mr. Flynn, the Bureau would like to recognize you officially for your heroism and assistance. There will be a commendation ceremony in a few weeks. I don't want a ceremony. I understand. But the media is already running with the story. War veteran saves heiress and exposes corruption. You're going to be on the news whether you like it or not. Henry's stomach turned. I don't want to be on the news. Then don't give interviews. Let your actions speak for themselves. What about Audrey? I don't want her face plastered everywhere. We'll make sure your daughter's identity is protected. She's a minor. We can enforce that. Thank you. No, Mr. Flynn. Thank you. What you did reminded people that there are still good people willing to stand up. We need that reminder sometimes. They hung up. Henry looked at Audrey, still sleeping. Peaceful. Safe. The news could say whatever they wanted. Call him a hero or a veteran or a savior. He didn't care. He was just a father who'd made a choice and lived with the consequences. And somehow, impossibly, things had worked out. 2 weeks later, Henry accepted William Hart's offer. The new cabin would be built on the same land. Bigger, better insulated, with a real foundation and a room just for Audrey. But Henry had one condition. He wanted to help build it himself, wanted to pour his grief and his hope and his healing into every nail and board. William agreed. Construction started in early December. Henry worked alongside the contractors every day. Audrey helped too, painting her room bright purple with yellow stars. Rosalind visited twice, once to see the progress, once to help Audrey paint. You're good at this, Audrey said, watching Rosalind carefully paint stars. My mother and I used to paint together, before she got sick. Do you miss her? Every day. I miss my mommy too, but Daddy says she's watching from heaven, and she's proud of us. Rosalind's hand stilled. I think she is, sweetheart. I think she's very proud. Do you think your mommy is proud of you too? I hope so. I'm trying to be the person she raised me to be. Brave, kind, honest. You are those things. You stopped the bad people. That's really brave. I had help. Your daddy helped me. You helped me. I couldn't have done it alone. Daddy says nobody has to be alone. He says people need people. Your daddy is very wise. I know. He's the best daddy ever. Rosalind smiled. Yeah, he really is. That night after Audrey was asleep, Henry and Rosalind sat on the porch of the half-finished cabin. Stars filled the sky. The air was cold and clean. This is beautiful, Rosalind said. Peaceful. It's home. Or it will be. Have you thought about what's next after the cabin's done? Get Audrey back in school. Find some work. Maybe teach crisis response classes for veterans. Use my experience for something good. That's a great idea. What about you? How's the company? Messy. We're restructuring completely. New board, new executives, new ethics policies. It's going to take years to rebuild trust, but we're trying. And your father? We're getting there, slowly. He's learning to listen. I'm learning to speak up. It's progress. They sat in comfortable silence. Then Rosalind said, "Can I tell you something?" "Sure." "That night in the rain, when you pulled me from that car, I'd decided I was going to die. I'd made my peace with it. But then you appeared. This broken stranger who didn't know me but saved me anyway. And it changed everything, made me realize my life was worth fighting for. I'm glad. I'm trying to say thank you, and I'm trying to say that you changed my life, in the best possible way." Henry looked at her. Really looked at her. "You changed mine too. Made me remember I could still do good things, still be useful, still matter. You always mattered, Henry. Didn't feel like it for a long time. And now I'm starting to believe it might be true." Rosalind reached over and took his hand. "It is true. You're a good man, a good father, and a good friend." "Friend, if that's okay with you." Henry squeezed her hand gently. "Yeah, that's okay with me." They stayed like that until the cold drove them inside. Until Rosalind had to drive back to Seattle. Until life pulled them back to their separate paths. But something had shifted between them. Something neither could name, but both understood. Hope. Connection. The possibility of healing. And as Henry watched her taillights disappear down the mountain, he thought about Sarah. About whether she'd approve of this new friendship, this new life. He decided she would. Because Sarah had always wanted him to be happy, to move forward, to live. And for the first time since she'd died, Henry felt like maybe he could. The cabin was finished 3 days before Christmas. Henry stood in the doorway with Audrey looking at what they'd built together. New wood, strong walls, windows that didn't leak, a home. "It's perfect, Daddy," Audrey said. "Yeah, baby, it is. Can we put up a Christmas tree? We can do whatever you want." They spent that afternoon decorating. Lights strung across the porch, a small tree in the living room. Audrey hung paper airplanes from every branch, her fleet of hope, each one with a wish written inside. That evening, Henry's phone rang. Rosalind. "Hey," he answered. "Hey, how's the cabin?" "Finished. We moved in this morning." "That's wonderful. I'm so happy for you both." "Thanks. How are things with you?" Rosalind's voice dropped. "Complicated. The trial date's been set. Clinton's lawyers are filing motions to dismiss, trying to discredit my testimony, claiming I'm mentally unstable, that I fabricated everything." "That's garbage." "I know, but it's working. The media's starting to question my credibility. Some outlets are running stories about how I had a nervous breakdown after my mother died, how I've been in therapy, how maybe I imagined the whole thing. What does Agent Vasquez say? That the evidence speaks for itself, that Clinton's going down no matter what his lawyers do. But Henry, I'm scared. What if people believe him? What if I've destroyed my father's company for nothing?" "Look at me," Henry said, even though she couldn't see him. "You didn't destroy anything. You exposed corruption. You saved lives. And you're going to get through this. How can you be so sure? Because I've seen you at your worst and you didn't break. You're stronger than you think." Silence on the line. Then Rosalind said quietly, "I'm holding a press conference tomorrow, at Heart Technologies headquarters. I'm going to tell my story, all of it. No lawyers, no prepared statements, just the truth." Henry's chest tightened. "That's dangerous. Clinton's people are in jail, most of them, and the FBI will be there. But I need to do this. Need to look people in the eye and tell them what happened. Will you be there? I know it's a lot to ask, but I need someone in that room who believes me." Henry looked at Audrey, hanging another paper airplane on the tree. "I'll be there." "Thank you. That means everything." "What time?" 10 a.m., downtown. The press is expecting a statement about the company's restructuring. They don't know I'm going to talk about Clinton. "Rosalind, are you sure about this?" "No, but I'm doing it anyway. That's what you taught me. Being brave doesn't mean not being scared. It means doing it anyway." They hung up. Henry sat on the couch and rubbed his face. This was supposed to be over. They were supposed to be safe now. But clearly it wasn't over. Not yet. The next morning, Henry dropped Audrey at her grandmother's house. His former mother-in-law, Margaret, answered the door with a warm hug. "Where are you going all dressed up?" she asked, noticing his clean shirt and jacket. "Press conference. For Rosalind Hart, the woman I told you about." Margaret's face softened. "The one you saved?" "Yeah." "Henry, are you sure you want to get involved in this?" "The news is saying terrible things about her, about you. Some outlets are calling you mentally unstable." "Let them talk. I know the truth. That's enough." "Is it? What about Audrey? What if this affects her?" Henry's jaw tightened. "Audrey will be fine, because I'm going to make sure of it." Margaret studied him. Then she smiled. "Sarah would be proud of you. Standing up for someone. Being brave." "She'd probably be furious I broke my promise." "No, she'd understand. Because that promise was about protecting Audrey. And the best way to protect her is to show her what it means to do the right thing, even when it's hard." Henry kissed his daughter goodbye. "Be good for Grandma." "I will. Are you going to see Miss Rosalind?" "Yeah." "Tell her I made her another paper airplane. Hope 21. It's in your truck." "I will, baby." Henry drove to Seattle with Hope 21 on the passenger seat. Traffic was thick. His hands were sweating. He hadn't been in a crowd this size since Afghanistan. Since the IED that had killed 3 of his unit and left him with nightmares that still woke him screaming. The Hart Technologies building rose ahead. Glass and steel, money and power. A mob of reporters crowded the entrance. Cameras, microphones, chaos. Henry parked and sat in his truck for a moment. Breathing, counting, grounding himself. He could turn around, drive away. Let Rosalind face this alone. But that's not who he was anymore. Henry grabbed Hope 21 and walked toward the building. Security stopped him at the door. "Name?" "Henry Flynn. I'm on the list." The guard checked his tablet. "Go ahead. 5th floor, conference room A." Henry took the elevator up. His heart hammered. The doors opened, and he stepped into a hallway buzzing with activity. Staff rushing, phones ringing. The controlled chaos of a company in crisis. Rosalind stood near the conference room talking with Agent Vasquez. She wore a navy suit. Hair pulled back. Face pale but determined. When she saw Henry, relief flooded her features. "You came. Said I would. I wasn't sure you'd actually do it. I don't break promises anymore. Learned that lesson." Rosalind noticed Hope 21 in his hand. "Is that?" "From Audrey. Hope 21. She wanted you to have it." Rosalind took the paper airplane with shaking hands. "She's amazing. She believes in you. So do I." Vasquez stepped forward. "Mr. Flynn, good to see you. Just so you know, we have agents positioned throughout the building. But there's always a risk when someone goes public like this. Stay alert." "Always am." "Good. Miss Hart, it's almost time." Rosalind's face went white. "I think I'm going to be sick." "Breathe," Henry said. "In through your nose, out through your mouth. Count to 4 each time." She followed his instructions. After a minute, the color returned to her face. "Better?" Henry asked. "A little." "You don't have to do this. We can walk away right now. No, we can't. People died because I stayed silent. I won't let anyone else die because I was too scared to speak up. William Hart appeared from an office down the hall. He looked older than his photos, tired, broken. When he saw Rosalind, something crossed his face. Pride, regret, love. "Rosalind," he said. "Dad." "Are you ready?" "No, but I'm doing it anyway." William nodded. "Your mother would be proud." "I'm proud." "You're going to lose the company." "Maybe. Probably. But I'd rather lose the company than lose you. I should have said that months ago, years ago. I'm sorry it took a scandal for me to remember what actually matters." Rosalind's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you. Thank you for being braver than I ever was." They walked together into the conference room. Henry followed. The room was packed. Reporters, cameras, shareholders, board members, all waiting. Rosalind took her place at the podium. Henry stood against the back wall, close enough to help if needed, far enough to stay out of the spotlight. Rosalind gripped the podium, took a breath, began. "My name is Rosalind Hart. 6 months ago I discovered that my fiancé, Clinton Reeves, had been embezzling millions of dollars from this company. When I tried to expose him, he tried to kill me, cut the brakes on my car, left me to die on a mountain highway." The room erupted, reporters shouting questions, cameras flashing. Rosalind raised her hand for silence. "I was saved by a stranger, a veteran named Henry Flynn who risked his life and his daughter's safety to protect me. Because of him, I'm alive. Because of him, I'm standing here today." She looked directly at Henry. He nodded once. Rosalind continued. "Clinton Reeves has been arrested, along with 14 other executives and contractors involved in the scheme. The FBI has evidence of embezzlement, bribery, witness tampering, and 3 murders made to look like accidents. This company was built on innovation and integrity. But somewhere along the way, we lost our way. My father and I are committed to rebuilding Hart Technologies on the values my mother believed in: transparency, ethics, accountability." A reporter shouted, "Miss Hart, Clinton's lawyers say you fabricated these charges because you wanted to break your engagement." "Clinton's lawyers are lying. I have proof. The FBI has proof. And the truth will come out in court." "What about the allegations that you're mentally unstable?" "I've been in therapy since my mother died. I'm not ashamed of that. Grief is hard, loss is hard, but getting help doesn't make me unstable. It makes me human." Another reporter. "Mr. Hart, will you resign as CEO?" William stepped forward. "Yes. Effective immediately. My daughter will assume leadership of the company during the restructuring." Gasps rippled through the room. Rosalind turned to her father, shocked. "Dad, we didn't discuss—" "I'm discussing it now. You're the only person I trust to fix this. The only person brave enough to do what's necessary. But I'm not ready. You saved this company by exposing the truth. Now save it by rebuilding it. I'll help. I'll advise. But you lead. You decide." Rosalind looked overwhelmed, terrified, but she straightened her shoulders and nodded. That's when the smoke grenades went off. 2 canisters rolled into the room from the hallway. Gray smoke billowed. People screamed. Panic erupted. Bodies surged toward the exits. Henry's combat training kicked in instantly. He scanned for threats, saw movement near the door. 2 men, armed, pushing through the chaos. Clinton's men. They'd been waiting for this moment. "Get down!" Henry shouted. He tackled Rosalind behind the podium as gunshots cracked. Wood splintered, glass shattered. FBI agents returned fire. The room dissolved into chaos. Smoke, screaming, confusion. Henry covered Rosalind with his body. "Stay down. Don't move." "The people, I'll handle it." Henry rose and moved through the smoke. Years of training, years of leading men through worse. He grabbed reporters cowering under tables. "This way, follow my voice." He led them toward the emergency exit, kept his voice calm, authoritative, the voice that had commanded soldiers under fire. "Hands over your face, stay low, move." People followed, trusting him because someone needed to take charge. Henry got 10 people out, went back for more. Vasquez was returning fire from behind an overturned table. "Flynn, get out of here." Not without everyone else. Henry found a woman trapped under fallen chairs, pulled her free, got her to the exit, went back again. The smoke was clearing. Henry could see the shooters now, not Clinton's men. They were younger, desperate, hired thugs, probably promised big money to disrupt the press conference. One of them saw Henry, aimed. Henry dove behind a desk as bullets tore through the air above him. FBI agents moved in, professional, coordinated. Within seconds, both shooters were on the ground, handcuffed, subdued. But the damage was done. People were hurt, bleeding, traumatized. Henry checked on Rosalind. She was shaking, but unhurt. William Hart was beside her, shielding her with his own body. "Everyone okay?" Henry asked. "Yes," William said. "Thanks to you." Sirens wailed outside. Paramedics rushed in. Police swarmed the building. Henry sat on the floor, adrenaline crashing, hands shaking uncontrollably. Rosalind crawled over to him. "You saved us again." "Just did what needed doing." "You led those people out, through smoke, through gunfire, like it was nothing." "Wasn't nothing. It was terrifying." "But you did it anyway." "Yeah, I did." A paramedic tried to check Henry's vitals. He waved them away. "I'm fine. Check the others." Vasquez approached. "That was some impressive work, Flynn. Where'd you learn to command like that?" "Army, Ranger Battalion. Spent 8 years leading men through worse. Ever think about joining the Bureau?" "No." "Why not? You're a natural." "Because I have a daughter, and I've spent enough time in war zones." Vasquez nodded. "Fair enough. Well, for what it's worth, you saved a lot of lives today." "How many hurt?" "Minor injuries, smoke inhalation mostly. One reporter with a broken arm from the stampede. Could have been much worse." Henry looked at the chaos around them. Overturned chairs, shattered glass, smoke stains on the walls. Could have been worse. But it could have been better. William Hart stood at the podium, miraculously still standing, and spoke into a camera that was still recording. "What you just witnessed is exactly why we need to change. Why corruption cannot be tolerated. Clinton Reeves tried to silence my daughter. Tried to silence the truth. But truth doesn't stay silent. It fights back. And today, truth won. Hart Technologies will emerge from this stronger, more transparent, more committed to doing what's right. And we owe that to my daughter, and to the man who saved her life. Twice now." He looked at Henry. The whole room looked at Henry. Henry wanted to disappear, hated attention, hated being called a hero. But Rosalind was smiling at him through tears, and William was nodding with respect. And somewhere in the chaos, Henry realized something important. He wasn't broken anymore. Or maybe he was. But broken things could still be useful, could still matter, could still save lives. The press conference ended. Police took statements. The building emptied. Henry sat with Rosalind in a quiet office while FBI agents processed the scene. "This is my fault," Rosalind said quietly. "I brought you into this, put you in danger, again." "Stop. This isn't on you. This is on Clinton. On greed. On people who think they're above consequences. But you could have been killed. So could you. So could everyone in that room. But we weren't, because good people showed up, did their jobs, protected each other." Rosalind looked at Hope 21 crumpled on the floor where she'd dropped it. Henry picked it up, smoothed it out, handed it back. "Audrey would want you to keep this, even crumpled, especially crumpled, because that's when hope matters most. When everything's falling apart. Rosalind clutched the paper airplane. How do you do it? Stay strong through all this. I don't. I'm terrified most of the time, but I've learned that courage isn't about not being scared. It's about doing what matters, even when you're shaking so hard you can barely stand. Where'd you learn that? From my wife. From my daughter. From you. From me. Yeah, you could have stayed quiet. Married Clinton. Lived a comfortable lie. But you didn't. You chose the hard path. The right path. That takes courage I'm still learning to find. Rosalind started crying. Not from fear this time, from release, from exhaustion, from the weight of 6 months of terror finally lifting. Henry sat beside her and let her cry. Didn't try to fix it, didn't try to comfort, just stayed, because sometimes presence was enough. After a while, William Hart knocked on the door. Rosalind. The FBI wants to take us to a safe house, until Clinton's trial is over. They think there might be more attempts. How long? Rosalind asked. Weeks, maybe months. Rosalind looked at Henry. What about you? Are you going into protection too? No, I'm going home. To my daughter. To my life. But you're a witness. You're in danger. I'm always in danger. Comes with the territory. But I'm not hiding anymore. I'm done hiding. Rosalind stood, walked to Henry, took his face in her hands. Thank you, she said, for everything, for saving my life, for believing in me, for showing me what real courage looks like. You showed me the same thing. Did I? Yeah, you did. She kissed his cheek, soft, brief, full of meaning. Take care of yourself, Henry Flynn, and take care of that remarkable daughter of yours. I will. You take care too. Change the world. I know you can. Rosalind smiled through tears. I'll try. Don't try. Do. She laughed. Yes, sir. Henry left the building, walked through the crowd of reporters and cameras and questions he didn't answer, got in his truck, and drove away from the chaos. His phone rang. Margaret. Turn on the news, she said. You're on every channel. I don't want to be on the news. Too late. They're calling you a hero, showing footage of you leading people out through the smoke. Henry, the whole country's talking about you. Great. That's just great. Audrey's so proud. She keeps telling everyone, that's my daddy. He saves people. Henry's throat tightened. Put her on. Rustling. Then Audrey's voice. Daddy. You were on TV. Yeah, baby, I was. You were so brave, you helped all those people. I just did what needed doing. That's what heroes do. Mrs. Peterson says heroes are people who help even when it's scary. Mrs. Peterson's smart. Are you coming home now? On my way. Be there in an hour. Good. I made cookies. And I made more paper airplanes. Hope 22 through Hope 30. That's a lot of hope. We need a lot. For Miss Rosalind. And for you. And for everyone. Yeah, we do. Henry drove home through the mountains, past the place where he'd saved Rosalind 6 weeks ago. The guardrail had been repaired. The burnt tree removed. No evidence of the crash that had changed everything. He pulled into his driveway. The new cabin stood strong, lights glowing in the windows. Audrey ran out before he could even park. Daddy! He caught her in a hug, held her tight, breathed in her shampoo and her innocence and her love. I missed you, baby. I missed you too. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. Promise. Promise. They went inside. Margaret had made dinner. They ate together. Watched the news coverage despite Henry's protests. Footage of the press conference, the smoke, the chaos. Henry leading people to safety. The reporter called him a hero. Called Rosalind brave. Called it a triumph of truth over corruption. Audrey watched with wide eyes. Daddy, you're famous. Temporarily. People forget fast. I won't forget. I'll remember forever. Good. Because that's all that matters. Not what strangers think. What you think. I think you're the best daddy ever. Even when I scare you by doing dangerous things. Especially then, because you do dangerous things to help people. That's what makes you special. Henry pulled his daughter close. Margaret excused herself quietly, left them alone. Audrey, I need to tell you something, Henry said. What? When your mom died, I promised her I'd never be a hero again. Never put myself in danger, never risk leaving you alone. But you broke your promise. Yeah, I did. Multiple times. And I need you to know that if something had happened to me, if I'd been hurt, or worse, you would have been okay. Grandma would have taken care of you. But I don't want you to ever think I value being a hero more than being your dad. Audrey thought about this. Daddy, I'm not mad you broke your promise. No. No. Because Mommy would understand. She'd want you to help people. And she'd want you to teach me to help people too. That's more important than being safe all the time. When did you get so wise? I've always been wise. You just don't notice because I'm little. Henry laughed. Actually laughed. For the first time in weeks, the weight lifted. The fear receded. The guilt quieted. You're right, he said. You're absolutely right. I know. Now can we watch a movie? I'm tired of the news. They watched a movie about a princess who saved herself. Audrey fell asleep halfway through. Henry carried her to bed, tucked her in, stood in the doorway watching her sleep. Sarah's voice whispered in his memory. Not the scared voice from the phone call. The strong voice. The one that had made him fall in love. Take care of her, and take care of yourself. Promise me. I promise, Henry whispered to the darkness. I'm trying. I really am. His phone buzzed. Text from Rosalind. Made it to the safe house. FBI says I'll be here until after Clinton's trial. Probably 3 months. I'm going to miss our friendship. Take care of yourself and Audrey. Henry texted back. We'll be here when you get back. And friendship doesn't end because of distance. It just gets tested. You'll pass that test. You've passed harder ones. Thank you for believing in me when I didn't believe in myself. Anytime. Now go rest. You've earned it. So have you. Henry put his phone down and walked to his own room. Lay on the bed. Stared at the ceiling. Tomorrow the media attention would continue. Reporters would probably show up at his door. The world would demand answers, interviews, explanations. But tonight, he was just Henry Flynn. Father, friend, survivor. And maybe that was enough. 3 months passed like a slow exhale. Winter gave way to early spring. Snow melted from the mountain peaks. Life found its rhythm again. Henry kept his promise to stay out of the spotlight, declined every interview request, every book deal, every offer to tell his story. The media eventually moved on to the next crisis, the next hero, the next tragedy. But the local community didn't forget, especially the veterans. It started with a phone call from Marcus Webb, the deputy who'd let them go that morning on the highway. Henry, I've been getting calls, veterans around the county asking about crisis response training, search and rescue, how to handle emergency situations. Your name keeps coming up. I'm not a teacher. You led 20 people out of a smoke-filled room under gunfire. I'd say that qualifies you. Marcus, just think about it. These guys need help. They need someone who understands what they're going through. Someone who's been there. That's you. Henry thought about it for 2 days, then called Marcus back. Okay, I'll do it, but only if it's free. No one pays, especially not veterans. Deal. I'll set it up. The first class had 6 students, all veterans, all struggling with PTSD, all looking for purpose after the military. Henry stood in front of them in the community center, hands shaking, wondering what he'd gotten himself into. My name is Henry Flynn. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm just a guy who's been where you are. broken, scared, feeling useless. But I've learned something important. Being broken doesn't mean being worthless. It means understanding pain, and understanding pain makes you better at helping others through it. One veteran raised his hand. How do you deal with the flashbacks? I don't, not always. Sometimes they win. But I've learned to ground myself, count backwards, focus on what's real, and I've learned it's okay to ask for help. That's not weakness. That's survival. Another veteran. Do you still have nightmares? Every night. But they're getting quieter. Takes time. Takes work. Takes being honest about what you're carrying. By the end of the first session, 3 veterans had cried. 2 had shared stories they'd never told anyone. 1 had admitted he'd been planning to end his life that week. Henry gave him his phone number. Call me. Anytime. 3 a.m. Doesn't matter. You call me. The veteran nodded, tears streaming. Why would you do that? Because 4 years ago someone should have done it for me. And they didn't. And I lost someone I loved. I'm not losing anyone else. Word spread. The next class had 15 students. The one after that had 30. By March, Henry was teaching 3 times a week. Crisis response, search and rescue, psychological first aid, how to stay calm when everything's chaos. Audrey watched her father transform, watched him find purpose, watched the sadness in his eyes slowly replace with something else. Not happiness exactly, but peace. Daddy, are you okay? She asked one night after class. Yeah, baby, I think I am. You smile more now. Do I? Yeah, it's nice. I like when you smile. I like it too. School had started again for Audrey. New teacher, new friends, but she still made paper airplanes every day, brought them home by the dozen, hung them all over the cabin. What are you wishing for now? Henry asked, watching her fold Hope 47. I'm wishing Miss Rosalind comes back soon. I miss her. Me too, baby. Do you think she's okay? I think she's working really hard to make things right. When the bad man goes to jail, will she come visit? I hope so. The trial started in April. Henry watched the news coverage despite himself. Clinton Reeves looking smug in his expensive suit. His lawyers spinning elaborate lies. The media circus turning truth into entertainment. But Rosalind was strong. Henry saw it in every clip, every interview. She didn't waver, didn't break. Told the truth clearly and calmly, even when Clinton's lawyers tried to twist her words. On the 4th day of trial, the prosecution played recordings. Clinton on the phone ordering the brake lines cut. Clinton threatening whistleblowers. Clinton planning to make Rosalind disappear. The defense had no response. No spin could overcome his own words. The jury deliberated for 3 hours. Came back with guilty verdicts on all counts. Embezzlement, conspiracy, attempted murder, 15 to 30 years. Henry was teaching a class when he got Rosalind's text. It's over. He's going to prison. I can finally breathe. Henry excused himself and called her. She answered on the first ring. Hey, she said, voice thick with emotion. Hey, you okay? I don't know. I thought I'd feel relieved, but I just feel empty. That's normal. You've been running on adrenaline for months. Now it's over and your body doesn't know what to do. Is that what happened to you after combat? Yeah, came home and felt nothing. Took years to feel anything again. How did you do it? Start feeling again. Audrey. She reminded me what mattered, what was real. You'll find your way too. Silence. Then Rosalind said, The FBI released me from protection. I can go anywhere I want now. I was thinking about coming to visit, if that's okay. Henry's heart jumped. Yeah, that's okay. This weekend I need to get out of the city. Need to remember what quiet feels like. We'll be here. That Friday, Rosalind's car pulled up the mountain road just as the sun was setting. Audrey saw her first and ran out screaming with joy. "Miss Rosalind, you're back!" Rosalind got out of the car and dropped to her knees. Audrey crashed into her with a hug that nearly knocked them both over. "I missed you so much," Rosalind said, holding the little girl tight. "I missed you too. I made you so many paper airplanes. Hope 30 through Hope 62. 62, that's a lot of hope. We needed it, for you, to help you be brave." Rosalind looked up at Henry standing on the porch. Their eyes met. Something passed between them. Relief, gratitude, something deeper neither was ready to name. "Hi," Rosalind said. "Hi. You look good. Tired but good." "I feel like I've been through a war." "You have, but you won." "Did I?" "Sometimes it doesn't feel like winning." "Come inside. We'll talk." They spent the evening catching up. Rosalind told them about the trial, about her father's resignation being permanent, about taking over as CEO and the massive restructuring happening at Heart Technologies. "We fired 40% of senior management, brought in independent auditors, created new ethics policies. It's brutal, exhausting, but necessary." "How's your dad handling it?" Henry asked. "Better than I expected. He's actually helping, advising without controlling. It's weird. Good weird. We're learning to work together instead of against each other." "That's progress." "Yeah, it is." Rosalind looked at Audrey coloring at the table. "What about you? What have you been doing?" "Teaching. Crisis response classes for veterans. Helping guys who are struggling find purpose again." "That's wonderful. How many students?" "About 40 regular. More coming every week." "Henry, that's incredible. You should expand. Get funding. Make it official." "I don't want funding. Don't want it to become a business. Just want to help." Rosalind studied him. "What if there was a way to help more people without it becoming about money? What if there was a foundation dedicated to exactly what you're doing?" "I'm not following." "I've been thinking about this for weeks. About how to honor the people who died because of Clinton's greed. About how to turn something terrible into something good. I want to start a foundation for veterans, mental health care, job training, crisis response education. Everything you're already doing, but on a bigger scale." Henry shook his head. "That's a great idea, but I'm not the person to run something like that." "I'm not asking you to run it. I'm asking you to be part of it. Community safety instructor. Teach what you're teaching now, but with resources. Proper facilities. Support staff. We could help hundreds of veterans instead of dozens." "Why?" "Because you saved my life. And now I want to help save others. Together." Henry looked at Audrey. She'd stopped coloring and was listening. "What do you think, baby?" Henry asked. "I think Miss Rosalind has good ideas. And I think helping people is good." Very diplomatic answer. Mrs. Peterson taught me that word. Diplomatic. It means being nice even when you don't agree. Rosalind laughed. "Do you not agree?" "I agree. I think Daddy should help more people. He's really good at it." "See?" Rosalind said to Henry. "Even Audrey agrees. Audrey agrees with everything that sounds nice. I do not. You told me last week you wanted a pet dragon. Because dragons are nice if they're trained properly." Both adults laughed. The tension broke. The conversation shifted to lighter things. Audrey showed Rosalind all her paper airplanes. They flew them around the cabin, made more, filled the space with hope and laughter. Later, after Audrey was asleep, Henry and Rosalind sat on the porch. Stars filled the sky. The air smelled like pine and spring rain. "I'm serious about the foundation," Rosalind said quietly. "I know it's a lot. I know you like your privacy, but Henry, you're doing something important, something that matters, and I want to help you do it right." "What would you call it, this foundation?" "I was thinking unseen courage. For all the people who do brave things that no one notices, the quiet heroes, the ones who show up even when they're broken. Henry's throat tightened. That's perfect. So you'll do it. I'll think about it. That's all I ask. They sat in comfortable silence. Then Henry said, "Can I ask you something? Anything. Why are you really doing this, the foundation? Coming here, all of it?" Rosalind was quiet for a long time. "Because that night in the rain when you pulled me from that car, you didn't just save my life. You reminded me that my life was worth saving. I'd forgotten that, forgotten what it felt like to matter, to be seen, not as William Hart's daughter or Clinton's fiancée, just as me. You saw me, and you decided I was worth dying for. That changed everything. I didn't." "Yes, you did. You left your daughter to save a stranger. That's not nothing. That's not small. That's everything." Henry looked at her. Really looked at her. Saw the woman who'd survived impossible odds, who'd faced down corruption, who'd rebuilt her life from ashes. "You saved me too," Henry said quietly. "Maybe not from a car crash, but from something worse, from giving up, from believing I didn't matter anymore. We saved each other then." "Yeah, I guess we did." Rosalind reached over and took his hand. "I'm not asking for anything, Henry. Not pushing for something you're not ready for. I just want you to know that you matter. To me, to Audrey, to everyone you've helped. And whatever happens next, whatever we build together or separately, you've already made a difference." Henry squeezed her hand gently. "Thank you." "For what?" "For not giving up. On yourself. On me. On hope." They stayed like that until the cold drove them inside. Until Rosalind had to drive back to her hotel. Until reality pulled them back to their separate lives. But something had shifted. Something neither could name, but both felt. The foundation launched 3 months later. A simple ceremony. No press. Just veterans and their families. People who understood what unseen courage meant. Henry stood at the podium, uncomfortable in his dress shirt, wishing he was anywhere else. "I'm not good at speeches," he started. "So I'll keep this short. 4 years ago, I lost someone I loved. Spent every day after that wishing I'd been there. Wishing I'd been better, stronger, different. But I've learned something. You can't change the past. Can't undo mistakes. Can't bring people back. All you can do is show up for the people who are still here. Do better today than yesterday. Be brave even when you're terrified." He looked at Rosalind standing in the front row. At Audrey beside her, holding Mr. Hoppy. This foundation exists because a woman named Rosalind Hart refused to stay silent. Refused to accept corruption. Chose truth even when it cost her everything. And it exists because my daughter taught me that hope matters. Even crumpled. Even broken. Especially then. So if you're here because you're struggling, because you feel broken, because you don't know how to keep going, I want you to know something. You're not alone. And broken doesn't mean worthless. It means you understand pain. And understanding pain makes you better at helping others through it. The room was silent. Then someone started clapping. Then everyone. Standing ovation. Tears. Recognition. Henry stepped down from the podium, and immediately Audrey was there hugging him. "That was good, Daddy. Really good." "You think so?" "I know so. Mommy would be proud." Henry's eyes stung. "Yeah, she would." Rosalind approached. "That was beautiful. It was adequate. It was perfect. Thank you for doing this, for believing in it. Thank you for making it possible." They stood together watching veterans sign up for classes, watching families find resources, watching hope spread like ripples in water. Over the next few months, the foundation grew. Started small with Henry's crisis response classes, then added counseling services, job placement programs, family support groups, everything veterans needed but couldn't find elsewhere. Henry taught 4 times a week now, trained other instructors, Built a community of people helping people. Audrey helped too. Created a kids' corner with art supplies and books. Made paper airplanes with the children of veterans. Taught them about hope. "Why do you make so many paper airplanes?" one kid asked. "Because hope needs to fly," Audrey said seriously. "And airplanes fly, so we make hope fly." "That doesn't make sense." "It doesn't have to make sense. It just has to work." And it does. Rosalind visited every weekend, helped with administrative work, fundraising, connecting the foundation with resources. But mostly she just spent time with Henry and Audrey. Dinners, hikes, paper airplane competitions. One Saturday in late summer, they hiked to a meadow near the cabin. Audrey ran ahead chasing butterflies. Henry and Rosalind walked slower. "This is nice," Rosalind said. "Peaceful." "Yeah, it is. I've been thinking about moving out of the city, getting a place closer to the mountains, closer to the foundation, closer to—" She trailed off. Henry looked at her. "Closer to what?" "To this. To quiet. To real things." "What about the company? My father's coming out of retirement, taking over as CEO again. Says he wants to end his career fixing what he broke. I'll stay on the board. But I don't need to run it anymore. Don't want to." "What do you want?" Rosalind stopped walking, turned to face him. "Honestly, I want to wake up without anxiety. Want to spend time with people I care about. Want to build something meaningful that helps people. Want to feel alive instead of just surviving." "That sounds good. What about you? What do you want?" Henry thought about it, really thought about it. "I want Audrey to grow up happy. Want to keep helping veterans find their way. Want to stop feeling guilty about being alive when Sarah isn't." "Are you getting there with the guilt?" "Some days. Today's a good day." Audrey called from ahead. "Daddy, Miss Rosalind, come see." They walked to where she stood. She'd found a field of wildflowers, yellow and purple and white, stretching as far as they could see. "It's beautiful," Rosalind whispered. "Can we pick some for Mommy's grave?" Audrey asked. "Yeah, baby, we can pick some." They spent an hour gathering flowers. Audrey made a crown for herself, one for Rosalind, even convinced Henry to wear one. "You look silly, Daddy." "I feel silly, but happy silly. That's the best kind." They drove to the cemetery as the sun was setting. Sarah's headstone stood simple and clean. Fresh grass, no weeds. Henry kept it maintained. Audrey placed her flowers carefully. "Hi, Mommy. I brought you flowers. And I brought Miss Rosalind. Remember I told you about her? She's really nice. And she makes Daddy smile. Is that okay?" Henry's heart stopped. He looked at Rosalind. She was crying quietly. "Audrey," Henry started. "It's okay, Daddy. Mommy wants you to be happy. She told me in a dream. She said it's okay to love new people. It doesn't mean we forget her." Henry knelt next to his daughter. "When did she tell you that?" "Lots of times. In dreams. She visits me and we talk. She says she's proud of you. Says you're being brave. Says Miss Rosalind is special." "Does she?" "Yeah, and I think so too." Henry looked at Rosalind. She was watching them with tears streaming down her face. "I'm sorry," Rosalind said. "I don't want to intrude on—" "You're not intruding," Henry said. "You're exactly where you're supposed to be." They stood together at Sarah's grave. 3 broken people learning to be whole. 3 lives intertwined by circumstance and choice and hope. As they walked back to the truck, Audrey between them holding both their hands, Henry felt something shift inside. Not healing exactly, but acceptance. The kind that lets you move forward without forgetting. The kind that honors the past while embracing the future. That night, back at the cabin, Audrey made 3 paper airplanes. Hope 1, Hope 2, Hope 3. "What are these for?" Henry asked. "To hang above the door, like a family." Why above the door? So everyone who comes in knows we believe in hope, even when things are hard. She handed one to Henry, one to Rosalind, kept one for herself. Now we hang them together, on 3. 1, 2, 3. They hung the paper airplanes above the doorway, fragile, imperfect, beautiful. Rosalind stood back looking at them. They're perfect. They're crumpled and weird, Audrey said. But that's what makes them special. Like us. Like us, Rosalind agreed softly. Henry put his arm around his daughter, looked at Rosalind, at the paper airplanes, at the home they'd built from ruins. Yeah, he said, like us. 2 years passed. The foundation grew into something bigger than any of them imagined. Helped over 500 veterans, saved dozens of lives, created a community of people helping people. Henry stopped counting the nightmares. They still came, but quieter now, manageable. Audrey turned 9, still made paper airplanes, still believed in hope with the fierce certainty of childhood. Rosalind moved to the mountains, bought land 3 miles from Henry's cabin, built a home that felt like peace, ran the foundation full-time, spent evenings with Henry and Audrey, became part of their family without anyone officially declaring it. They didn't rush into anything, didn't force labels or definitions, just existed together, shared dinners, shared laughter, shared the quiet understanding of people who'd survived impossible things. On the anniversary of the night Henry had saved Rosalind, they hiked back to the crash site. The guardrail had been fully repaired. The scorched earth had grown over with new grass. Hard to believe it's been 2 years, Rosalind said. Feels like yesterday, feels like forever, Henry said. Do you ever regret it? Stopping that night? No. Do you regret getting in that car? No, because it led me here, to this, to you, to feeling alive again. Audrey was ahead of them, placing paper airplanes along the road, a trail of hope marking the path. What are you doing, baby? Henry called, leaving hope for people who need it, so they know they're not alone. That's beautiful, Rosalind said. It's Audrey being Audrey. Yeah, it's perfect. They watched the paper airplanes flutter in the breeze. Some would blow away. Some would get rained on. Some would survive. Just like hope. Just like people. Fragile, but unbroken. Temporary, but eternal. Small, but infinite. As the sun set over the mountains, Henry took Rosalind's hand. She squeezed back. Audrey ran to them, and they stood together watching light fade to darkness, fade to stars. Thank you, Rosalind whispered. For what? For stopping. For saving me. For showing me what real courage looks like. You saved me too, both of you. Made me remember what I was living for. What's that? Henry looked at Audrey, at Rosalind, at the paper airplanes dancing in the wind. This, right here, moments that matter, people who care, love that doesn't quit even when everything's broken. That's beautiful. That's true. They walked home together as stars filled the sky. 3 people who'd found each other in chaos and built something beautiful from the wreckage. Hope 1 and Hope 2 still hung above the doorway. Faded now. Worn, but still flying. Because real courage isn't on battlefields or in boardrooms or in headlines. Real courage is choosing to love when you've lost everything. Choosing to forgive when it hurts. Choosing to show up every single day, even when no one's watching. Real courage is unseen, unnoticed, uncelebrated. But it changes everything. And in a small cabin in the mountains surrounded by paper airplanes and memories and hard-won peace, 3 people who'd learned that lesson the hardest way possible were finally impossibly beautifully home.